guest.
So I took
যারা
I
viewers,
took my time.
this guest is genius, man.
No,
এত fastest time কিন্তু is not মানে কি বলবো, is not an example, proper example.
it's not just understanding as a natural talent,
Right.
but you have to put the effort in.
Right.
A lot of people ask, oh, how do you do well? I put in about 100 hours minimum per paper.
So, but যাই হোক, end of the day, hats off to you, man. Hats off to you, because you literally কি বলবো, break down the whole thing about ACCA.
Probably.
কারণ বাংলা ভালো লাগে না?
My goal, huh?
বাংলা ভালো লাগে না?
Although, funny thing is, I was at Buet for one term in the middle, and that was my safety school.
Oh my god.
And that was only because
engineering, well,
but I never
specialist
finished
in
it.
biology or chemistry,
Yeah.
and then you move to chartered certified accountancy.
Yeah.
Allah janar.
No, but like,
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Another episode here, but this episode will focus on our qualification. Jetuni, I guess you have seen a lot of episodes as well, but here the guest is quite interesting. He's Mr. Wasif, and he's gonna talk about his journey of ACCA. সাথে আমি একটু টুইস্ট অ্যাড করতে চাচ্ছিলাম, যেহেতু ভাই শুনলাম আমেরিকা থেকে আসছে, from the land of Donald Trump.
okay.
Hi, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, great.
Hi, everyone. I am MD Wasif Akram Hussain, but please call me Wasif. I don't like the whole huge name thing. And I met Bhaiya through Sajid Bhai, who's also another lecturer here at Base. Yeah.
So how are you, man? Everything good?
Yeah, good.
So as far as I know, আমি একদম মানে কি বলবো, short knowledge that you lived in America for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
And why did you
So-
move back?
I moved back because they didn't sponsor me.
Oh,
I worked.
I
I worked for 3 years after graduating.
And what work did you do there?
I was an occupational therapist. So I was in biochemistry. That was my major. And then I was looking for work in pharma or something in like clinics or research. And then by happenstance, I got like two clients who were in occupational therapy. So occupational therapy is just an umbrella term. You use like research, physical therapy, and a lot of like using computers to aid people to live like a quality life. So suppose like someone has Parkinson's, you're going to have tools to help them live better.
Right.
So that was essentially my job, finding ways to improve quality of life for patients.
So guys, এই এপিসোডটা একটু ইন্টারেস্টিং কারণ হচ্ছে মানে from an occupational therapist, he moved to the line of chartered certified accountancy. And why is that?
Okay.
Because both qualifications are very demanded in this today's world, তাই না?
Yeah. So when I moved back, this was like right before COVID. And then once COVID had, the lockdowns were lifting, at the end of my career as an occupational therapist, I was mainly doing consulting or management. I was managing teams there.
Right.
And so I wanted to move into management, and that could be in pharma, that could be in hospitals, etc.
Right.
But here in Bangladesh, what everyone wants is a relevant degree. So if I wanted to work in management at a hospital, I would need an MBBS.
Right.
Or like an MPH, which is Masters in Public Health. Or if I wanted to work in a management trainee position, they want a BBA or a CA or an ACCA. So I thought, let me look at the shortest fruit of the tree, which would be an MBA. Went to NSU, went to IBA, talked to them, and looked at the cost and the distance I would have to cover. And I decided I am not going to waste 6 hours every week at least commuting to these places. And then I was looking at CFA. It's very costly. And if you fail once, you have to redo it again. And it's thousands of dollars per exam. And then I was debating CA and ACCA. And CA, you needed to work right off in an articleship.
Right.
And study and do
Work.
exams and work.
Work at the same, yeah.
And I didn't know if I had the capability to do well initially.
And the time factor as well.
Yeah.
Of
And
working.
so I was like, okay, let me do a couple of units. Let me test out the water. And then I'll look into work. So with that in mind, ACCA made more sense in terms of money, time management, and work-wise, I was always looking at not national companies or Deshi companies, as people like to call it. I wanted to work at an MNC or Big Four here, or at a fintech. And there's hardly any distinction between doing a CA or an ACCA. It's just your basic knowledge. And obviously you can get certifications for tax, etc. So yeah, with that, I started ACCA mid 2022, right off after lockdowns were completely over. I started doing classes with Sajid Bhai initially with F1 and F4, so LW and BT.
And how many have you finished so far?
I just have one left. I am
Oh,
sitting
so
for
it's basically in about কতক্ষণ হলো যদি আমি শর্টকাটে বলি, whatever you said, it's like you chose ACCA because of the cost and everything, and then within the span of 2.5 years you literally finished almost all the papers except
just the one in 2 weeks.
That was fast. That was fast.
Yeah,
That
well,
is fast.
Actually, the funny thing is, I might have finished it a year earlier if I had rushed.
Right.
But then I was also doing like the OBU, and I was doing some other stuff in between.
Guest.
So I took
Jara viewers,
I took my time.
This guest is genius, man.
No,
At the fastest time কিন্তু is not মানে কি বলবো, is not an example, proper example.
No, but I think like I didn't get any exemptions, right? I had to do all 13 papers and then the ethics paper, of course. But I had accounting in A-levels, and I had my minor was managerial economics, so there was accounting and corporate finance there. So it's not like I was totally removed from accounting.
Right, makes sense. Makes sense.
It was still in the periphery.
So are you basically এখন তো almost শেষ.
Yeah.
What do you think about the qualification? Is it really difficult? That's what people perceive.
So okay.
Or is it more tricky?
I think there's a I don't know. For me, I've always been a good student, and I think it's not just understanding as a natural talent, but you have to put the effort in. A lot of people ask, "Oh, how do you do well?" I put in about 100 hours minimum per paper, and this is effective studying, right? You're taking notes and understanding. You're just not like rifling through pages and reading for the sake of reading. You're actually consuming the knowledge and internalizing it.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that. So let's say for me, it might have taken 100 hours to do, place first in Bangladesh. It might take another student much less, or the average student maybe like 50% more time, 150 hours. And that's to be a national prize winner. We're not talking about passes, because for my papers, I've been a national prize winner for every paper so far. And there's only one left, and I'm trying to get world highest this time. I've gotten close. I've been third in financial reporting.
আমি কিন্তু আগেই বললাম গেস্ট রে ভাই এত জিনিয়াস এই লেভেলে ছিলাম না, নো ন্যাশনাল প্রাইজ উইনার ফর মি। ওয়েল আমি আসলে এই দেশে পড়িও নাই, টু বি অনেস্ট উইথ ইউ, সো ওইটার তো চান্সই নেই। সো ইংল্যান্ডে পড়ছি, সো ইট ওয়াজ মোর কম্পিটিটিভ,
right?
So but যাই হোক, end of the day, hats off to you, man. Hats off to you, because you literally কি বলবো break down the whole thing about ACCA. কতক্ষণ লাগে, কতটুকু paper, and plus the the prize winner stuff. That's great. I really want to see you to be a member soon though.
Yeah, well, I'll have to get my work experience, but I'll be an affiliate hopefully by April when the results are out. I've not failed so far, and I hope to keep that going.
Another rare case. If you ask me about the failure, ask me privately. এইভাবে openly বলা একটু ঝামেলা। Jack, well done to whatever you have done. So at this very stage, so you are very focused into finishing the last paper, right? And then currently you are doing consultancy or something?
I'm working as a financial consultant. It's for an ERP on Salesforce. So Salesforce is a platform for customer relationship management and a lot of other things, and they have a native accounting platform called Accounting Seed.
Right. Yeah, I've heard about that.
I'm working as a financial consultant for clients for an IT company here, which is sort of working as a BPO. It's called Inovi Solutions. yeah, so far so good.
Not bad. Are you planning to go back to America or settling abroad somewhere? Because ACCA do have that opportunity to,
Yeah. For now, no. I think
in the future, long run,
probably, probably.
probably. কেন বাংলাদেশ ভালো লাগে না?
My goal, huh?
বাংলাদেশ ভালো লাগে না?
I've lived abroad for so long,
হ্যাঁ, true, true,
and then
true.
even growing up, like I didn't really mesh with the culture here that much because it's such a big bubble to be in an English medium school and then have like a very certain group of friends and everyone's going abroad and you go abroad
True.
and you're staying abroad. So your whole mentality has been that.
Right.
Although funny thing is I was at Buet for one term in the middle and that was my safety school.
Oh my god.
And that was only because
engineering, well,
but I never
specialist
finished
in
it.
biology or chemistry,
Yeah.
and then you move to chartered certified accountancy.
Yeah.
Allah jane ar ki
No,
baki
but
ache.
like, I never finished engineering. It was only because my parents forced me. They were like, you need to have a backup.
So you actually gave me a very good question to ask you.
Yeah.
মানে বাংলাদেশের কিন্তু এটা একটা টেন্ডেন্সি, the parents who forces students to choose
Yeah.
a subject, and that's really not a wise decision now,
Right.
তাই না?
I agree.
Exactly. And then how can they change their point of view?
How can
Because-
parents change their point of view?
Point of view.
Look.
Don't they think they should? I
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
I know.
My parents never forced me in that way.
acha.
Engineering was because they knew I was good at maths and physics.
Makes sense.
So they were like, if your plans to go abroad doesn't work out, you should have a safety school.
I see.
And of the places I got into, like, which was like the big creme de la creme, as you like to call it, I wanted to do architecture at Buet as well, and I got in, or BBA, and I got in there too. But I knew like I was going to get in. I was just waiting for financial aid and scholarships.
Right.
And literally between the time that I got accepted and I left, I'd only done like a term of Buet, and it's a long process.
Right.
So I knew I'd gotten accepted. I was just there for funsies at Buet, and then I got my scholarship package, and then I dropped out.
A controversial question.
Yeah.
Very controversial question. আজকাল যুগে স্পেশালি এই কারেন্ট নিউ বাংলাদেশ, অলরাইট, এখানে রিসেন্টলি অনেক ঝামেলা চলছে regarding whether the politics should be in the university.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I didn't grow up with politics abroad.
Right.
Like we don't have student politics
in the
American.
universities.
Yeah,
Exactly.
American universities, British universities, most universities don't have student politics. And I agree there shouldn't be any student politics because you're there to study. You're not there to garner political support for whatever you're going to do beyond that.
Right.
My friends in university, they've gone on to become, like in the legislative board at different states. I have someone who works for the SME branch for New York City, so he works with the governor, etc. But you don't really need to do that in university.
Exactly.
To be
I see what you
going into that field.
I see what you mean. But although এখন কারেন্টলি অনেক পলিটিক্যাল পার্টি কিন্তু এটা বলে যে বাংলাদেশের কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি দ্য হোল স্টুডেন্ট মুভমেন্ট, যেটা আগেও হয়েছিল ডিউরিং 1952 and then 71, তো স্টুডেন্টরাই করেছে, সো দ্য পলিটিক্স শুড বি দেয়ার, I mean, according to the politicians.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it has to be on campus.
That's my point.
Leave it out of the campus. Why would you go canvas for student members at
and that really doesn't give a very favorable
result. And then what happens is you're using your affiliation to A, not do class, B, what I've heard is you get free passes, and C, you're intimidating not just students but professors.
Exactly.
So there's like a weird identity politics happening.
So in short, according to you, there should not be any student politics in universities.
Yeah, no,
because that's what you have seen in America as well.
Yeah, but I also feel like here, I don't agree with it. Like, what's the point?
True. Good question. I mean, good answer. Good answer.
You're saying your own question was a good question.
Yeah, it was a good question. It's a very relevant question, actually.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I was thinking about it. Because আমেরিকাতে ইউ স্টাডিড, তাই না?
Yeah.
সো এন্ড অফ দ্য ডে আমরা তো অনেক ওয়েস্টার্ন লেজিসলেশন ফলো করি,
Mm.
ঠিক আছে, ব্রিটিশ কারিকুলাম বা
Right,
ব্রিটিশ
right.
ফ্যাক্টরস অনেক কিছু আমরা নেই জুডিশিয়ারিতেও।
Right.
সো ওই পারসেপশন বা পার্সপেক্টিভটা আমার একটু জানা দরকার ছিল। So I was thinking about it to ask you that question for a long time,
Okay.
and then you just snapped it somehow. You just made it into it. Anyway, I guess the viewers heard about it. We're gonna close it soon though. But আরেকটা question সেটা হচ্ছে, do you think the student really have to be very smart to pass the examinations of ACCA?
No, look, I think genius
Hmm.
is mainly hard work.
Hmm.
In fact, there's a syndrome, right? When students move from high school, where if you're really smart and you get topics really quickly,
Hmm.
you are going to pass exams really quickly, because the depth of the knowledge you need to pass exams in high school or A levels or O levels is not a lot.
Right.
But when you go to university, it's going to be about self-learning.
Right.
And how do you self-learn if you are just going to class and then not doing nothing
Right.
by yourself? And a lot of it is going to be researching stuff on your own and practicing.
True.
So there's the second part of the genius is hard work.
Do you also believe that Bangladesh education needs reforming?
Of course, of course. But again, I'm coming from a place of privilege, or a place of bias, because I haven't done HSC or SSC, so I haven't felt or been under the influence of like the public education
Right,
system. It's
right.
all been private. I went to Sunnydale for O levels and then Mastermind for A levels, and a lot of it was self-driven, or a lot of parents here force you to go to coachings,
Right.
or you go to coachings because your friends are going there.
True.
So you've always been under a system where you're being guided. But yeah, I having studied HSC after doing A levels for Buit, I think a lot of the questions, a lot of the syllabus
Are backdated. Not
yeah,
up to the mark. today's-
backdated. There's no point in memorizing maths. I had to memorize maths for the MCQ. Buit, you have 45 seconds for an MCQ, and you have to memorize answers to like big matrix and imaginary math.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
And,
then I'm
and
like,
have you realized this trend that we're facing in ACCA? Because to me, to like
Yeah.
ACCA, you have the colleagues বা friendরা যারা
Mm.
আছে. So you have seen that people are finishing their MBAs or masters and then joining ACCA as well.
You're right, right.
Because and then we see that knowledge is not up to the mark.
Right.
And then sometimes when I discuss with my colleagues, I was like, দেখেন মানে it's not Dhaka University graduate or NSU graduate যে এরা অনেক ভালো হবে আসলে এমন কিছু না, এরা যে খারাপ হবে তাও না, it really differs from person to person,
Right.
but not necessarily a tagline of a university makes you a genius.
Yeah.
But
of
এটা কিন্তু
course.
একটা stereotype বাংলাদেশে এখনো আছে, and we are very proud যে ও আমরা ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি গ্রাজুয়েট
Right.
or আমরা NSU গ্রাজুয়েট.
Mm.
End of the day এই আজকাল ওয়ার্ল্ডে does it really matter?
No.
Not at all.
No,
I don't
not
think
at
so
all.
as well, তাই না?
Right. Like
Because that's why we actually get students from all those universities to ACCAs
right.
to
right.
upgrade their skills
Right.
and the
Yeah,
knowledge.
exactly. Look. Your background does not matter.
Exactly. That is the
I
point.
came from. I finished my university in America. I don't introduce myself as XYZ graduate. If people ask, if people want to know, I said, yeah, I graduated from university abroad, but that is not the basis. What my current introduction or like my current credential is ACCA, and that's it. But again, if your knowledge base isn't up to the mark, you're not going to pass the exams.
Exactly the point. Exactly the point.
And if you pass the exams, then obviously your knowledge base should be sound.
Right. Okay. Excellent. I think within this short span of time, আমরা আসলে খুব তাড়াতাড়ি wrap up করতে চাচ্ছি because এটাও আমার একটা learning curve,
Yeah, right.
to keep the answers straight to the point, and which you have done.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Any last thing that you want to share to our audience?
No, not really. I think I've spoken.
He's covered literally every
ad
single,
nauseam.
মানে যতগুলা tick box আছে সবগুলা টাটা টাটা
Yeah, I've spoken ad nauseum
Yeah,
about
yeah, exactly.
everything you need for it. I think one main thing that I feel a lot of the other students who have done ACCA, I started off and almost finished it in under 2.5 years. And some of them are still in the first stage or like have started skills level right now. And I think people are just scared. Or they have a tendency to study maybe like 2 weeks before exams. And that is not the way you do well in any professional exam or even after O-levels and after school. You just have to be very consistent, and consistency is the key. Consistency and hard work. So just study, take your time, plan it out, take a month and a half, study, and you're going to pass.
এটা আমি একটু মজাভাবে অ্যাড করি, হ্যাঁ, ব্যাপারটা এই যে আমার যারা আমাদের শুট করছে তারাও কিন্তু সেম টেন্ডেন্সিতেই আছে, এক্সামের 2 উইকস আগে পড়া।
Exactly.
Just saying.
You won't believe.
But I really admire them because they're doing a lot of things, like এই যে এত সুন্দর একটা whatever you guys are watching, the viewers, যে channel by editing কিন্তু are done by the students,
right?
And they're all in A levels or just finished their A levels, for example. But ওই যে একটাই খালি প্রবলেম যে মানে পরীক্ষার মানে 2 সপ্তাহ আগে 1 মাস আগে পড়া।
If it was a month, it would be even fine. I've gone to exam halls and they're like, oh yeah, I just finished the syllabus this morning and I came to the exams and I didn't practice. And then I was like, when did you start studying? They're like 2 weeks ago. And then there are people who haven't even finished the syllabus.
It necessarily
like, you're wasting your time and money.
Exactly.
And like, don't do that.
Don't do that. Balance is the key.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Wasif bhai. It was great talking to you. Onek points gulo amra raise korechi. So thank you so much. Let's see if I can work things out with you in the future, because member hawar por dekha jabe we can have a lot of work together or something, inshallah. And you might
if I'm
think
in the
about
country.
if
you are in the country.
Are bhai country ta to bhalo hobe. We are all hopeful. Reformation hok na hok jeti hok, we are hopeful. Good things will happen to this country. একটু ব্যালেন্স দরকার, ক্রাইম রেট এগুলো কমার দরকার। We understand good governance is needed. Inshallah, hopefully something positive will come up. So let me close it, I guess. Naki?
Yeah, I mean,
great,
I have nothing else left to add.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thanks to the viewers. Hopefully see you in the next episode. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.